Welcome back, everybody. It's so wonderful to see all your efforts in this time that we spent together. 3 weeks we've been going. Isn't that wonderful? This is our fourth week. And it's so exciting because this week you're going to develop the content for your crowdfunding campaign. You're going to use all the knowledge that you've gained over the last few weeks to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. Yay! We'll be using our project plan that we developed in the last session to fill in the details of our crowdfunding campaign. The project plan from last week is essentially an expanded version of our crowdfunding campaign content. It provides us the roadmap and gives us the details which we're going to summarize into our crowdfunding campaign. This week we'll use also Free Laundry for Friends, the PDF document, as a case study to help us in our learning. It's very good to look at practical crowdfunding stories as we learn how to write crowdfunding stories. This was actually a very successful crowdfunding campaign. It gives us lots of insights into how to develop the content for our success. So now we're going to look at what you should do before you start creating your content. What you're going to do is try to create a stir. You're going to cause a stir. It's important before you begin to create the content for your crowdfunding campaign that you try to stir as much interest in it before it launches as possible. The question is, how can we do this? Many of your initial backers will no doubt be people that you know. So the first thing you should do is, before you even begin to write your story, is generate a list of contacts. They could be WhatsApp contacts, email contacts, or cell phone contacts. Remember to exclude no one at this point. Just write up the list of all your contacts, as you come up with them. Even people that you may not have spoken to for years, put them on the list. Don't exclude anybody at this point. Once you have the list, write to them, explaining to them what you're about to do and why you need their help. Tell a brief version of your story to them, perhaps the one that you're going to use in your crowdfunding campaign. You not only want to give them your campaign details and encourage them to give, you also want to access their networks. Again, you're casting the net as wide as possible, and you're asking them to pass on what you've sent to them to their friends, family members, and others who may be interested. So you're trying to gain access to their networks as well, and you're stirring their hearts to back you, and you're asking them to become champions of your cause. It's also worth considering doing the same thing on your social networks, your digital social networks. Activate your digital social networks on LinkedIn or Facebook in a similar manner with an eye-catching post. Perhaps you want to use some of the photos in your post that you're going to use in your crowdfunding campaign. Briefly tell them the story in a sentence or two and ask them to repost or share this with their networks. Again, you're trying to create interest in your crowdfunding campaign, getting those eyes on as many as possible. Remember to provide details of when it's starting, how long it will run for, which websites it will be on, etc., etc. Also activate your real-world networks. Everybody knows someone who knows someone. In your present networks, you will have people who are connected and well connected. Phone them, meet with them, explain the story to them, just as you did in your video after the first session. What you're asking them to do is to provide introductions or contacts so that you will be able to expand the number of eyes you have on your campaign. Telling the story. Here we're going to write down the story of your crowdfunding campaign, the main body of the text. Remember, when you start writing, you want to provide the critical information early. Do you remember we asked you to create a project concept summary in a sentence or two in the second session? Well, It's that sentence you need to return to. That sentence should be a summary of the most important facts about your project, and you're going to put it at the very beginning of your story. Remember, we're dealing here with people with very short attention spans, and they will most likely not read the entire story that you've written. So you'll need to take your story and summarize it in a sentence or two, improving on your project concept, making sure that it provides all the necessary information. Look at free laundry for friends. Notice that first, in those first two sentences, you're given all the information you need. You know that, for example, this campaign is giving 100% of your funds to paying for free laundry for underserved communities affected by COVID-19. Notice they're making it clear what the money is also going to be used for. They're also being very clear about their values. They believe in kindness and they want to fulfill the basic need, clean clothes for work, helping people to feel dignity, the dignity that comes with wearing those clean clothes. Notice they're also, most importantly, surprising people and paying for their laundry. This really makes their campaign stand out. The beneficiaries in their crowdfunding campaign aren't expecting to be helped and are surprised when a basic problem is solved for them. How can you sharpen your project concept summary better to summarize your project plan? Read through your project plan again and rewrite that sentence or two summary again, taking into account all the things we've learned from Laundry for Friends first two sentences, including what the money will be used for, your values, what the project is trying to do, and its target group. So you have your opening now. Now it's time to look at the body of your story. The body of your story. Most great storytelling invites the audience on a journey with the protagonist. Can you think of films where people are on journeys with the main characters? Films like Star Wars, that series, and The Lord of the Rings, and The Wizard of Oz all invite the audience into the journey with the main characters. The audience is to become invested in the hero's quest. Most of these plot lines have a central character who wants something really badly but has trouble getting it, or has serious obstacles in their path. The same applies to telling a crowdfunding story. I'm not suggesting here you should write a film script. Remember, less is more. But we can learn from the way these great stories are told, and this can help us improve our storytelling. So who or what are the beneficiaries? Who are the characters in our story? Is the question that we need to answer when we write our campaign story. And we also need to answer why they are deserving of the $1,000. It might be easier to focus on a single character rather than try to talk about a general group of beneficiaries. You might want to invite your backers into a story and select a character, a main character. It does not have to be a person, it can be an institution, or it can be an environment. Remember last week we looked at knowing the problem. This can help us answer the next question, which is, what is the main obstacle, need, or problem that the $1,000 will help solve? Now again, we can answer those questions in a general way and give a load of statistics. However, it is much better to provide answers to all of those questions with the very words of your beneficiaries. Now I realize that some of you might have projects that are focused on things and not people. You can still find people who will benefit from the thing and can tell the story in their own words. We want our backers, after they've read the story, to be emotionally involved with our beneficiaries. Letting the beneficiaries speak is a powerful way of doing this. This is just like testimonies in church. Can you think of how powerful those are? An authentic voice ringing out from your story will help foster a connection with your backers. Another good story technique is to use show, don't tell. Anton Chekhov said, "Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of the light on the broken glass." See, he came up with this concept. This storytelling method shows the reader how to feel and doesn't tell them how to feel. It allows the reader of your story to feel the emotions in the story without being told how to feel. It also allows the reader to be provoked into feeling an emotion or a connection to the story without being told that connection specifically. So if you can use an authentic voice of one of your beneficiaries to introduce who they are and why they're deserving of your backers' support, it will make your story stand out. They will also have to articulate the main problem, the problem or challenge that's standing in their way. This sometimes is referred to as the monster in the story. Last week we said how difficult it was to know our backers because crowdfunding is so individual. Well, most human beings will respond well to a character or characters who want something badly and have trouble or a challenge in getting it. So if your story contains voices from your beneficiaries that will connect with people in a way, no matter who they are, no matter where they find themselves, because they're connecting with a main character in your story. Make sure you tell your backers how their donation, no matter how small, will help remove the obstacle or solve the problem your beneficiaries are facing. Here again, I urge you to think about offering tiered donations. Here you're providing a range of options from very small amounts to very large amounts and explaining how each option helps solve a problem or remove an obstacle faced by your beneficiaries. Remember, no one knows your beneficiaries like you do. You're not begging people, no, you're inviting others in to partner with you to make an impact and solve a real world problem for those people you're trying to impact. Remember to look over telling your story in session 2 because this will also help you draft the story. Take a quick look at the free laundry for friends. What do you think of the problem statement? Can you connect with it? Can you connect with the way they wrote the problem out? Did you notice their tiered donation system? Well, you can now use all of those tools to create your story. Now we're going to look at videos. Please review the section on creating videos in session 2. Remember, the most important thing in your video is to demonstrate your passion. You are the best person to do your video, even if you're camera shy, because no one knows your project like you do. Remember, keep it short, less is more. No more than 2 minutes long. Make sure you clearly communicate in a very brief way, using your background and using the summary sentence to give people a real sense of the problem the project wants to solve. Remember also, sound, sound, sound. So you've got your video together, you've got your story written. Now you want to add some visual content in the form of pictures. Make sure your photos that you take provide the necessary context. If you are raising money for flood victims and you just have pictures of houses and water, that's unlikely to connect with your backers. It's much better if you can place people in the pictures. Perhaps people standing in front of their house that has been recently flooded, or standing on high ground looking down at their flooded houses. Having pictures that help you tell the story visually are a great help to your text story. If the story is that people want a well to provide a second harvest, showing people working on a dry land will connect much more than just simply an arid landscape. Take a look at the photos in Free Laundry for Friends. What do you notice? You notice happy, surprised people that links directly to their aim. Now you have all the tools you need to prepare your crowdfunding campaign. Remember, you're going to write your story, activate your networks, use the appropriate photographs, and all of that's going to be uploaded onto the ITL website. Isn't that amazing? See you next week.